24, verse 15. So we pick it up there. The abomination of desolation. Make sure my audio's good. Okay. All right, verse 15. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is... Well, hold on. I already have a question. Okay. In Matthew 24, 16. Why is the instruction to flee to the modern reader? In Matthew 24:16, Jesus provides a startlingly urgent command. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. To understand why this instruction was given and what it means for you today, we have to look at both its immediate historical trigger and its prophetic weight. The immediate context being the Roman siege. For the original audience, this was a practical survival guide. Jesus was foretelling the destruction of Jerusalem, which occurred in 70 AD. Okay. The signal. In the preceding verse, Jesus mentions the abomination of desolation standing in the holy place. Historically, many scholars link this to the Roman armies led by Titus surrounding Jerusalem and eventually desecrating the temple. The escape. Usually in ancient warfare, people fled into the walled city for protection. Jesus commanded the opposite, to get out. Church tradition suggests that many early Christians remembered this warning and fled to the mountain town of Peia, sparing them from the horrific slaughter during the Roman siege. The significance for the modern reader. While the 70 AD event is a matter of history, the Olivet Discourse is often viewed through a double fulfillment lens, meaning it applied then, but also points toward the end of the age. The command to flee emphasizes that there comes a point where business as usual is no longer an option. For a modern reader, it serves as a call to watchfulness. It suggests that the world can change rapidly, and one must be spiritually prepared to act when the signs of the times manifest. Scary. Okay. Verse 17, let the one who is on the housetop not go down to take what is in his house, and let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. And alas, for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days, pray that your flight may not be in winter or on a Sabbath, for then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. Okay, and then in verse 20, is this describing the end times from Revelation? And is it held that I'm always asking about this because I'm concerned. Well, not concerned, but I really want to understand whether or not there's an exemption here for people that are going to be caught up in the rapture. So this stuff always is very intriguing to me, that those that are taken up in the rapture will be absent for this tribulation. Basically trying to ask, is it one and the same as the tribulation from Revelation? To answer your questions, we have to look at how different Christian traditions piece together the prophetic puzzle, the relationship between Matthew 24 and Revelation is one of the most debated topics in theology. Is verse 20 describing the end times from Revelation? Most scholars agree that Matthew 24:20, pray that your flight may not be in winter or on a Sabbath, has a dual application. The historical view, for the early church in Jerusalem, this was literal. In 70 AD, a Sabbath flight would have been difficult because city gates were closed and traveling more than a Sabbath day's journey, about 0.6 miles, was culturally and legally restricted. The amount of rules they had is just mind-boggling. The future Revelation view, many modern readers see this as a parallel to the Great Tribulation, described in Revelation, specifically chapters 6 through 19. In this view, the abomination of desolation is the Antichrist taking over a rebuilt temple in Jerusalem, triggering a period of global upheaval. Will those in the rapture be absent for this tribulation? Whether or not the church is present during the events of Matthew 24 depends entirely on which rapture timing view one holds. Okay, and we covered this. I mean, I asked this question a lot, so we covered this a lot, especially in the read-through of Revelation on this channel. So if you want to go back and look at that, I won't read through that again here because we've gone through that extensively, so I won't do that to y'all for those that are following along. So let's move on back to verse 21. Or no, sorry, 22. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. Also, okay, so this is also interesting because that kind of implies, but for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. So that either means that the rapture won't say, like some group of Christians, whenever the end times come, that group of Christians will have to experience the tribulation, or the elect could mean those that turn to Christ after the rapture. So the ones that would be saved during the tribulation as a result of the tribulation. So let's see. In Matthew 24, 22, who are the elect? In Matthew 24:22, the term the elect, eklektos, refers to those whom God has chosen for himself. While the basic definition is chosen ones, the specific identity of this group varies depending on the theological lens used to interpret the passage. In the immediate context of Matthew 24, Jesus is describing a period of great tribulation. The elect here are the believers who are living through this period of intense distress. God shortens the duration of the suffering specifically to ensure their survival. The common interpretations being the global body of believers, many scholars view the elect as the church, or the sum total of all true followers of Christ, both Jews and Gentiles across the world. Jewish believers, some interpreters focusing on the Jewish context of Matthew's gospel and the specific reference to Judea and the temple, argue that the elect specifically refers to the remnant of Jewish people who have accepted Jesus as the Messiah. Probably not the case, given what we've already learned about Christ's mission. The chosen in salvation history, in a broader Pauline sense, like in Romans or Ephesians, the elect refers to those chosen by God's grace before the foundation of the world to receive salvation. Okay. This is interesting. Biblical usage of eklektos, the elect. To understand the flavor of the word, it helps to see how it is used elsewhere in the New Testament. Jesus Christ reference called God's chosen one in Luke. Angels referred to as elect angels in 1 Timothy. Historically called Israel, historically called the chosen people in the Old Testament. and the church desired as a chosen race in First Peter. Interesting. Okay. Verse 23. Then if anyone says to you, "Look, here is the Christ," or "There he is," do not believe it. For false Christ and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. I have told you beforehand. That's the end of the sentence. So if they say to you, "Look, he is in the wilderness," do not go out. If they say, "Look, he is in the inner rooms," do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. Whoa, what does that mean? So this part here, though, is pretty straightforward. So don't be fooled. In other words, there will be news of people making claims to be Christ here on earth, saying, "Go to this place, go to that place," but don't buy it, because Jesus is saying he's going to come in the blink of an eye like a lightning bolt. So don't be fooled. Just remember that. Okay, but what does verse 28 mean? Explain. Matthew 24, 28. In Matthew 24:28, the English Standard, wherever the corpse is, the vultures will gather. This verse is notoriously cryptic and has sparked various interpretations among scholars and theologians. To understand it, we have to look at its placement within Jesus' Olivet Discourse, where he is describing the signs of the end of the age and his second coming. The most common interpretation is that Jesus is using a proverbial illustration to describe the inevitability and visibility of judgment. Just as you don't need to be told where a dead animal is because the circling birds make it obvious, the coming of the Son of Man will be unmistakable. Inevitability: when a body is present, scavengers naturally appear. When moral corruption reaches its peak, the corpse, I see. Divine judgment, the vultures, is certain to follow. Dang. Moral corruption reaches its peak. Well, seems like it's getting there. Visibility: you can see vultures from miles away. Jesus uses this to warn against people claiming he has returned in secret or in inner rooms. His return will be as public and obvious as birds circling a kill. It's going to be wild. Oh, man. Okay, let's go back. Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven. So this has to be, given we just read through Revelation, my interpretation is, having just read through it, that this is more or less not a precursor, but a condensed summary of what is revealed to John in the book of Revelation, because these are describing the same events. So yeah, I think this is describing the same end times, not some separate tribulation. Okay, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So I have another question. In Matthew 24:29, 30. Jesus called the Son of Man. Is man likely to be, or not likely, is man name for God? Certainly seems this way. No. The short answer is no. Man in this title is not another name for God. However, the title Son of Man is one of the most complex and powerful names Jesus uses for himself, because it points to both his humanity and his divine authority. Here's a breakdown of what the title actually signifies in Matthew 24:30. The human element, son of Adam. In a literal sense, the Hebrew and Aramaic idioms behind Son of Man simply mean a human being. By using this title, Jesus is affirming that he is fully human. Okay. It highlights his role as the second Adam, the one who represents all of humanity before God. Okay. Okay. That's really deep. The reason Son of Man sounds so majestic in Matthew 24:30 is that Jesus is quoting a specific prophecy from Daniel. In that Old Testament vision, Daniel sees one like a Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven. This figure approaches the Ancient of Days, God the Father. God has a lot of cool names. Is given everlasting dominion, glory, and a kingdom, is worshipped by all peoples and nations. By calling himself the Son of Man who comes on the clouds, Jesus is claiming to be this divine kingly figure. He isn't saying man is God. He is saying that he is the specific human-like one who has been granted God's own power and authority. Okay, read my mind. Why not Son of God? While Jesus is also called the Son of God, he preferred Son of Man for a few reasons. To avoid immediate arrest, Son of God or Messiah had heavy political connotations that could have led to a premature revolt against Rome. To emphasize the incarnation, it highlights the paradox that a human being, the Son of Man, is also the one who will judge the entire world. Yeah, that's mind-bending, but okay. I accept that breakdown. That's interesting. Where was I? Verse 29. No, verse 30. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds. Also mentioned in Revelation, so this has to be this one and the same, from the end of heaven to the other. I remember being, when I was younger and in the church, I must have watched a movie or something that depicted this, because I used to have nightmares about the rapture. I don't know why I used to be so scared of it. It's in my old age now, knowing what it represents. It's a great thing, if you're saved. The rapture is we want Jesus to come back, but I just remember being young and just being terrified of any kind of trumpet or siren that would sound, because I was like, oh snap, God's coming back and all these bad things are going to happen. But yeah, the more you know, the less fear you have. Okay, 32, verse 32. From the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see all these things, you know that he is near, at the very gates. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Who then is the faithful and wise servant, whom his master has set over his household, to give them food at the proper time? Blessed is that servant whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that wicked servant says to himself, my master is delayed, and begins to beat his fellow servants and eats and drinks with drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he does not know, and will cut him in pieces and put him with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yikes. Okay. Excuse me. Matthew 25, verse 1. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. For when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them. But the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, they all became drowsy and slept. But at midnight there was a cry, here is the bridegroom, come out to meet him. Then all those virgins rose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, since there will not be enough for us and for you, go rather to the dealers and buy for yourselves. And while they were going to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was shut. Afterward, the other virgins came also, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered, truly I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour. So, don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until it's too late. It's interesting. I was watching. I don't know what video I was watching. It was like a Wes Huff video, and somebody left a comment, and they said, I'm paraphrasing, but they basically said, Christianity is often questioned because every time a Christian gets questioned about how you actually become saved, like whether or not it's all through faith or is it through your works and faith, I always get, this person that was commenting was saying they always get a mixed up answer. It's never clear. And that is why so many people question Christianity. And I totally feel, I can remember dwelling in that kind of mindset for such a long time. And so what I told this random person, because it just felt right to tell him, and it's exactly what I'm doing now, is just read the Bible for yourself. If you really want the answer, it's better to explore the claims of Christ for yourself and ask God to just work that out for you personally. And he will. You'll get your answer. You'll know if you're saved or not, but don't wait for the perfect messenger. It's I think I bring that up because I think this is exactly the kind of thing that this passage is warning against. Don't wait until it's too late. Always be ready. Okay, verse 14. For it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted them to his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered me 5 talents. Here, I made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also who had delivered 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here, I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also who had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has will more be For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So that's interesting. Definitely need to break that one down. Explain parable of talents from Matthew 25. The parable of talents is one of Jesus' most famous teachings regarding stewardship, faithfulness, and the kingdom of heaven. It is set within the Olivet Discourse, where Jesus describes what his followers should do while waiting for his return. In this context, a talent was not an innate ability or skill, though we use the word that way today. The talent was a massive unit of currency. 1 talent was worth roughly 20 years of a day laborer's wages. The narrative breakdown. The story follows a master who goes on a journey and entrusts his wealth to 3 servants, distributed according to their abilities. The master gives 5 talents to the first, 2 talents to the second, 1 to the third. And as we saw, the first 2 effectively doubled what they were given, gave it back to the master. The last one dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money out of fear. The accounting. When the master returns, he settles his accounts. He gives the exact same commendation to both the 5 talent and 2 talent servants. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. However, the 3rd servant claims he hid the money because he knew the master was a hard man and was afraid. The master calls him wicked and slothful, takes his talent to give to the one who has 10, and casts him into the outer darkness. Key themes and lessons. Faithful stewardship. The parable suggests that everything we have, our time, resources, and influence, belongs to God. We are managers or stewards rather than owners. The expectation is not equal results, but equal faithfulness relative to what we have been given. Man. The danger of fear and inaction. The third servant's failure wasn't that he lost the money, it was that he did nothing. Dang. His view of the master as hard led to a paralyzed, risk-averse life. Jesus uses this to warn against a passive faith that seeks only to preserve rather than to multiply the reach of the kingdom. Man, the principle of increase. The parable concludes with a stark spiritual principle. For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This implies that spiritual gifts and opportunities grow through use, while neglect leads to spiritual atrophy. Man. Yeah, that's deep, but I like that. So I'm going to save. I'll probably just save the whole thing. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so that takes us right across our 30-minute mark. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to drop a sub if you haven't already. Love you guys.